So I wanted to follow up on one of the comments to my videos where we were exploring the Stalker mech in Battletech. And certainly the Stalker is a powerhouse. There's a lot of amazing configurations. And in this comment, this kind of leads into the thinking or the understanding of heat as a tactic in Battletech, because certainly heat management is key. But in terms of variants, I enjoy the stock variant on the Stalker. It has redundancy at multiple ranges. It has an answer for every single range, and I define redundancy as 2 or 3 similar weapon systems in a similar range bracket. The Locust variant is at the 2 something, where you replace the machine guns with 2 SRM 2-packs combined with the medium laser. I love this variant because not only does it provide a little bit more of a punch, but most importantly, the range brackets are the same for all 3 weapons. Unlike what you'd see in the normal stock Locust, you're always shooting the medium laser, but how many times do you really shoot the machine gun unless you get up close? But that's a choice. By staying far away, I can fire all 3 at the kind of that 9-inch long-range bracket. Whether I hit or not, that's another story. But with the Stalker, what we have at each range, as I'm coming in, I've got missiles, I've got lasers. You can put out shots, and when you have the choice, depending on the flow of the battle and what's going on, you can do a little bit of an alpha strike. You can really push the heat, and you can fire a lot. So this leads into heat management, and from the perspective of a mech warrior, we start to see this in some of the higher-end medium mechs, the heavy mechs, and definitely the assault mechs, and even heavy and assault mechs that are really heat synced out and have good heat management. You can get yourself into trouble really, really fast. And the 2 ways that we do this is as we are closing the distance in Battletech, right? You start on your side of the table, I start on my side of the table. We're moving to position. We're trying to go back and forth. I'm trying to get some of my key units up there. There are amazing tactics in the game, but eventually we have to close. Eventually we're going to settle this. And in that moment when we close, this is where a lot of our weapons are going to come to bear. We're at medium range, we're at short range, and we're really going to look to leverage those dice. Well, at long range, the odds of hitting are what? 11 and 12s, even if I'm walking, even if I cut that down. I'm not going to be standing still because I'm going to be moving, but your opponent's going to be far away. There's going to be some terrain modifiers. They're going to have their movement modifiers. I'm going to have my walk modifiers. I'm not saying don't take those shots. At long range for Battletech, if you can take the shot, you can take the shot. But if you expend a lot of shots at long range and you build heat and you can't clear it in time, depending on the mech, when we make it to close in, now you're starting at a heat deficit. So we really, really want to look at heat management and keeping that heat down and knowing when to push it. Now, a disclaimer here, I tend to run hot. I tend to push the heat. I tend to take risks in Battletech. It's just something about a dice game. I guess for a D&D reference, I would be chaotic neutral. I'll gamble everything on a dice roll. So let's see what we can do. I'll risk the ammo explosion. I'll risk the shutdown. I mean, I try to be conservative, but if there's a chance for glory, a chance for gain, I will push it. I've had 2 Stalkers explode on me playing this, knowing I shouldn't do this, but be tempted with that. Side note, they were not a campaign game. It was just kind of a one-off, throw down some mechs on there. Campaign game where you have to repair and salvage and refit weapons, that you have to be super conservative. So what I'm trying to do is position myself in that moment, keep the heat down, but once I get close enough, the farthest I would say to conservatively push that heat is on the scale where it starts affecting your movement. At close range, 3, 4, 5 hexes away, playing a heavy or an assault mech, you're not really going to backpedal fast enough. You're not really going to approach that fast. Being able to push it and be down on a movement, it's not as bad. Yes, we always want movement. There could be some lights or mediums trying to get to your side, trying to do that stuff, but I feel like we can comfortably push this. As soon as we get into modifiers to hit, that starts defeating the whole purpose of what we're even trying to do on there. So I really want to keep the heat down on that. Now, when to push it? Just to blast away armor. I feel like in Battletech, there's blasting away armor, stripping it out, and then getting to internals. As soon as you get into internals, interesting things start happening. whether, especially if there's ammo in there. You know, if we've got something like some ammo in the left torso or the right torso, anytime you get into the center torsos, now you want to consider pushing it, especially if I can score engine hit or gyro. Anytime we get into the leg internals too, we want to push it. And I feel like for a long time, in all fairness, I didn't realize the value of internal damage to the legs of the opponent and looking to capitalize on that, because causing damage, you can really, really cut down on their movement tremendously, almost to the point where they are immobilized. So it's not this idea like I must blow off the leg. We'll get to that. We will try and do that. But causing some serious damage to the hip or the lower leg and stuff like that really cuts down on the movement. So I might push it there. Arms, not really. I mean, look, I'd love to go crit. Off the top of my head, there might be a mech with some ammo in the arm. We'll put that one in the comments for the quiz. But generally, your arms are pretty safe of getting blown off, so I won't push the heat. So I'm going to be conservative. I'm going to try and push my weapon systems, and this goes back to the Stalker. I'm going to fire with the LRMs. I'm going to fire with the lasers, but it's going to be, maybe 2, maybe 1, 2, 1. Keep that heat down. Look to strip armor. But the second that we go to internal, torso or legs, now the Stalker is beast in that firing a lot of those short-range missiles, a lot of the short-range weapons and the lasers and stuff. There's almost a little bit of crit-seeking going on. I mean, a lot of mechs crit-seeking we see with LRM 20 packs and all LRM 15 packs, where you're hitting in clusters, and one hit has the potential to spawn 2 to 3 clusters on an average dice roll, or 4 clusters on there in a fabulous dice roll. Even though they're only 5 points or 2 points or 1 point, depending on the spread, if you've broken through internals and I'm checking for 5 hit locations or 10 hit locations, if I'm firing off 2 packs and they both hit, that becomes pretty devastating on there. So on the opposite end, the Stalker, while it doesn't have the full missile capacity at close range to do that, you have options with that weaponry. That is where I would push it. That's my idea of heat management. And from a tactical game, that's how I would start to approach it. From an emotional game and an emotional player like I am, where I want glory all the time, I tend to run hot. I think if I inherited a Stalker mech, I don't know if I would last that long with that. But heat management is definitely very, very important in Battletech.